All right. Good evening, everybody. It's a few minutes past 8, and I'm very grateful to have two of my favorite humans in the world on live with me, Meaghan Thomas and Meg Fischer Stone, both of whom are absolutely amazing at the outreach work they do, not only to pets, but to the unhoused. And I want to just give Meg a chance to talk about the new project that she's doing right now that's going to be an enormous success once it gets off the ground, and it's going to be called Eden Village. So Meg, talk to us just a little bit about your plans for providing housing for the unhoused and for people who just need to be in smaller homes and can afford it a little bit more.
Thanks, Tara. Eden Village is a concept that is proven, and it's out of Springfield, Missouri. And currently there are 5 Eden Villages open across the country. And we are, as Jacob's Ladder Outreach, one of 8 other cities that are trying to build this tiny home community for chronically unhoused individuals with either a mental or a physical disability. So these are tiny homes that individuals pay to live there, and wraparound services can be provided at the community center there. Also, what's important is each individual would get a home team, a group of trained volunteers to assist them in transitioning back from the street into a house. These homes come fully furnished and no deposit or anything like that, no utilities.
Remarkable.
So we are working on, we have a piece of land that we have identified in the Portland neighborhood, and we are raising funds to purchase this land. And we have raised over $200,000 in the last 6 months. So these are from just donations, grants, and some sponsorships, some trust funds, etc. So we continuously ask the community of Louisville to support us by coming to our fundraisers this Tuesday at Gander. All day, 10% of their sales all day will go to Jacob's Ladder Outreach. So we appreciate them.
Where's Gander?
You know, I don't have the address in front of me. It's I think it's off like Old Henry and English Station Road. It's called Gander, an American restaurant.
It's 111 South English Station Road. Perfect.
Okay. And
Good.
So that will be all day, and we will have representatives there to share information. And then as of right now, our next big fundraiser is March 1st, which is a trivia night at Douglas Boulevard Christian Church. We have 7 packages of bourbon raffles going on, a purse raffle, and then of course we'll have a silent auction and other raffles at the trivia night. We had a great time last year. We had to turn people away. So please get your table and just look at your Facebook pages or our websites, and we'd love to hear from you. And we're also looking right now, Tara, for more places to come to your community groups or churches to do a presentation, a brief PowerPoint, and a question and answer. So we are looking for that.
Like we did in Middletown that night.
Yes, we are constantly improving.
I love it. So I'm putting the link to EdenVillageUSA.org in the chat so people can connect with that. And Meg has long been an advocate for our unhoused community. So this is just a small portion of the work that she does, the personal hands-on work. We've been out on many point in time counts at 4 o'clock in the morning on the coldest night of the year, counting the unhoused for the city's benefit, which numbers never reflect what we see on a daily basis. But I love her and I appreciate her so much. Meaghan Thomas, let's talk a little bit about the work you've been doing, because you came swooping in as a crazy dog lady and joined the rest of us crazy dog ladies, but you have really expanded your reach to so many other populations, not only the unhoused, but also the underserved communities of Louisville who just really need help with their pets, and you're providing human assistance as well.
Yes, I met I've been a crazy dog lady for many years, let's be honest. But
Now you're a little crazy dog lady.
yes. I did a lot of dog rescue back in Chicago in different forms. And about a year ago, and when I moved to Louisville about 6 years ago, I fostered for LMAS and I fostered for PBSF rescue. But I was building a business and didn't have time for much else. But now that the business is stable and doing well, I'm able to spend a little bit more time doing what I love, which is outreach for dogs and humans. When I come across people in need, of course, we care about humans. And I'm just finding when I moved my business to a different neighborhood, there were a lot more loose dogs. There's a lot more people that need help. And so I just, jumped right in, and people have been super supportive. A big thing, I met Tara about a little over a year ago now, catching a dog and running into her catching a dog, and then she helping me catch a dog on one of the coldest nights of the year last year, and getting him to safety. And he's since been adopted and has a great life. So I got pretty heavily involved with what Tara does, which, I mean, what doesn't Tara do? But the small portion of what she does is, helping pick up loose dogs and helping people find their dogs, and helping stray dogs find fosters. And so been doing a bunch of that, and also going into neighborhoods while looking for people's lost dogs, coming across a lot of dogs that are on chains and living outside. And that's been hard, but rewarding work. It's slow progress talking to people and trying to convince people to bring their dogs in. But we get wins, and we just got a dog off a chain, and he's actually in my home right now in a crate, relaxing and learning what it's like to be warm. And it was thanks to Jenny Brown and Doug Abel, who were able to kind of take the last part of the conversation with the owner and get him to surrender. So he's going to be safe now.
You had two other dogs that you took off chains at that same house a few weeks ago and got them into a home.
Yes, those dogs are safe in a home. The third dog was a little bit harder to get. And the owner, sometimes, you just have to work on communication. And it was great that Jenny was able to pick that up and convince him to do the right thing and get the dog inside and into a safe place. And we're looking for rescue still, but he will be safe and loved forever now. Also, just, while looking for dogs, I meet a lot of people who love their pets, but need a little bit of help to take care of them. And sometimes when dealing with pets that are out in the elements, you start asking questions and you realize it's because they can't afford flea and tick medicine and they can't have fleas in their house. I get why no one would want that. So getting flea and tick meds out to them is all they needed to be able to bring their animals inside. And, it just has a lot to do with talking to people and finding out their needs. And unfortunately, right now, we are in a time where people have a lot of needs. And I really believe it's up to us as a community to jump in and help. And I've learned a lot from working with Tara and meeting amazing people like Meg and what they're doing. And it just goes to show that you don't have to be an expert in this space. You can just go out and learn while you're doing it how to help people. And
I just want to call attention to the fact that we are dealing with some of the worst weather of the year. And I'm putting this Weather Louisville map up just so people can see what we're confronting right now. We had a very cold day today. We're dropping down to, single digits, very close to zero tonight, tomorrow night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, we're going to start feeling like we're thawing out by the end of the week, but the high temperatures are going to be in the teens for the first couple of days and in the 20s for the next couple of days. And we're going to feel like we're in summer by the time we reach the freezing mark, which is what a lot of people just do not understand, that how bitter this is. And, Isabella Christensen, was absolutely terrified tonight because she found a man and his dog, neither of whom she could rouse. Another volunteer could not rouse. They were in such deep sleep. And Daryl Glass went over there and checked on them. Thank God. Another wonderful outreach team with Fern Creek United Methodist Street Reach went over there. And Daryl just commented, Megan, I learned we are neighbors. I ran into Leslie last week. I just live a few houses down. So, we're dealing with so many issues and so many problems and so much difficulty with just meeting the very basic needs in so many households. And that's one of the biggest problems that people confront is, do they feed their kids? Do they feed their dogs? Do they stay in a house and pay the mortgage? Do they get behind? Do they get evicted? How do they keep their utilities bills paid? I mean, we see people are getting brown bills, getting their heat and air conditioning and everything else in various weather shut off. People are living in homes with no electricity right now. And it's brutal. And no matter how many times people say, oh, apply for LIHEAP or apply for whatever, there's not enough to go around to serve all the people in this city who don't have enough.
Right.
I'm shocked at the number of houses that I see that don't have electricity, don't have heat, don't have anything, and they're being creative about it and trying to figure it out. But there's a lot of pain going on. And even though the house may look normal from the outside, there's a lot of people inside struggling, and
including kids,
including children. And so
yep.
That's why I really try. I mean, it's hard sometimes when you see a dog chained outside in the middle of the cold and you're like, who could do this? I try to go in with not coming with judgment, because you don't know people's situations. And a lot of times when you hear what they're going through, you can kind of understand. I mean, not that things are right or wrong, but you can kind of understand how you get to a point like that. And we all just need to have better understanding for each other. And we also just need people who aren't experiencing this kind of pain to understand how bad it is out there and how much people are hurting and how much we need help from the people who aren't hurting to help the people that needs a little bit of help, because we're all just a few accidents away from being in their shoes. And
Maria Miles just joined us, and she and Angela are both out from Jacob's Ladder Outreach, doing outreach right now. Maria, can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself?
I can hear you. Hello, everybody.
We're glad to see a very, very dim view of you. Maybe you can just turn on the dome light for a second while there you go.
Hey.
There's
Okay,
my beautiful friend. I didn't know Maria was going to make it or not, but I'm so glad she did. She and Ange, who doesn't want to go on camera, are out driving right now, going out to do the.
Anyway.
And are going to do the late night Hillview outreach. We deal a lot with Bullitt County, but there are outreach teams all over the place. And Maria, you talked to me just a few minutes ago about the people who are overlooked, the people who don't have regular paths, and you encounter animals with those folks too.
Yes, we encounter animals. We actually have been helping some people that have a roof over their head, but they don't make enough to make ends meet and are hungry. And there's, like Megan was saying, there's so many people all around us that we don't even have a clue of what they're going through. And we just have to take care of our neighbors, and that's the neighbors in the house, the neighbors under the viaducts, in the tent. We need to take care of our people and love each other.
Right.
We do.
But
I'm going to ask.
It's brutal out here, and there's people that won't go inside. A lot of times it's because they have pets, and they worry about leaving their belongings because they won't be there when they get back. And so we just go out when it's really cold or really hot and do kind of welfare checks. Make sure they have what they need to stay warm, so they don't get frostbite, so they don't freeze to death. And it happens.
What I would like to talk about is the fact that so many people who cannot get in on a normal basis can get in if people would support the outreach teams to bring animals and people into hotels at night. And I know that Isabella Christensen is very, very concerned about that. She's trying right now to get people into hotels that just cannot survive out here. And it's killing all of us to see people out on the street. Go ahead, Maria.
Well, it's finding somewhere for them to go. A lot of times, if they do decide to go in, it's like, where do you take them at 8:30 on the Sunday night?
That's exactly right.
It is a white flag, but we've put people in hotels in extreme weather for a night or two. And there's a responsibility that comes with that. Um, Also, so nothing is just like simple as these
Right.
people on Facebook all the time in the comments. I just have to not read comments because if it was so easy as get a job, or
Yeah.
you made bad choices. We've all made bad choices,
Yes.
and some of us have people, a support system, and some people don't. Some people have no one.
That's
um,
exactly right.
So it just, there's no one size fits all answer, but when we all work together, when we do what we can, it may be something small, but it's a help. And people don't realize that. They'd rather turn a blind eye than to be a part of the solution.
I'd like
Right.
you to, I'd like you and Megan and Maria Meg and Maria, to hear what Megan and Isabella and Lauren and a few other of our team members did right before the winter storm. Talk about the provisions that you guys gathered and got out, Megan, because that was an absolutely unbelievable enterprise in just a very short period of time.
Well, thanks to amazing donations and people like Becca Lindsay that raised funds for igloos, we were able to get igloos, which are dog houses, and straw to a lot of people in need. We also made cat houses and straw to get them to people who are taking care of community cats. But the need is huge, and so we're always in need of that stuff. But people are really grateful. There's a lot of times maybe someone moved into the house. I don't know if people realize, but a lot of people are living with extended family members and friends, because few people can make ends meet sometimes right now. And let's say maybe the cousin goes to live with another cousin, but the other cousin's allergic to dogs or has too many dogs herself, and now the dog's living outside. So there's a lot of people who don't want their dogs to live outside. In those cases, we're trying to support them with dog houses and straw to try and keep them warm, and dog coats. It's important to know, if you give people things to keep dogs and cats warm in this kind of cold, that it shouldn't be blankets. It can't be things that can get wet and make them colder. So dog coats without fabric on them is really important, because that can freeze and actually make the dog colder. But straw, remember, straw for strays. That's how I remember it. Instead of hay, straw is the warmer item.
Mhm.
That's what we were handing out. And I actually have one igloo that was just donated thanks to PBSF Dog Rescue and from PetSmart and Marina. They dropped it off. So I have one dog house, one igloo, and I can get straw to anyone who knows someone in need. So I have a feeling it'll go fast, but someone reach out to me if you need it.
And also, you brought up the very good point that some of the igloos that you guys had donated are big enough for a human and a dog. The issue with that is if they're unoccupied, they'll be taken or they'll be cleared.
Mhm.
So they're not practical, because people have asked, could we get igloos for humans? Our transient population is such that they cannot carry those things with them. And if they leave them behind, they're gone or they're cleared by the city. So that is not practical. But Megan also has human sleeping bags that she's been distributing madly, as well as other members of our team. Those dog bags and those human sleeping bags can prevent someone from freezing to death overnight.
Mhm.
You can buy them on Amazon. There's two for, I think, $14. They're little red or orange, emergency sleeping bags, and they fold up. They're about this big, so they're easy to carry, which is important if you're unhoused and having to move. So I just encourage people to go look for emergency sleeping bags online. Keep them in your car. When you see somebody in need, hand it to them. If they have a warm place to stay tonight, they probably know someone else who doesn't, so they can give it to them. But keep those in your car and hand them out, because they're life-saving.
Actually, Megan, put your Amazon wish list in this chat right now so people can see it. And Daryl said they can also line regular sleeping bags, which is a very good point too. So Meg, just briefly, the reason that you guys are coming up with this Eden Village concept is because people clearly need permanent housing, but they also need what we call wraparound services. And explain that just a little bit, because what Megan and Maria and you and I know, but many others don't, is that with being unhoused often comes mental health challenges, substance use disorder challenges, an inability to handle finances, if there are any finances. And it's just a very complex, very layered situation. It's not like somebody just chooses to go out and live under an overpass. So it's really, really important to explain what those wraparound services look like. And I know that Carrot Ash is doing those, Arthur Street Hotel, Tiny Markwell's working with Donnie Green, and they're doing a pretty remarkable job of getting people on the housing track. And Eden Village is going to follow much the same kind of destination path.
Right. I mean, when we hear this, get a job. Well, where are you going to shower? Where are you going to get ready for work? Where are you going to deal with all these things? Again, go to work, but you've left your stuff and they come back and it's all gone. So we believe in the fact that they need a house first. You've got to feel safe and secure.
Yes.
So, and that's where the home team comes in with Eden Village, as far as, like you mentioned, finances. They might help with that. The wraparound services can come in our community center, where we could have AA meetings or that sort of thing, or different, we're talking to different facilities in Louisville. I know Angie's talked to a couple, and I thought New Lease may have agreed to work with us to come and provide some of those mental health services. If you've gone to live on the street and you didn't have a physical or a mental disability, if you've been on the street for any length of time, you probably have one now.
Absolutely.
You've been injured out there, whether it's cold or fighting someone to not take your things, and mental issues and addictions. Trying to just deal with every single day, wondering, how am I going to take care of my stuff? How am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? The city comes and moves their things, takes their things.
Throws them in the garbage, their things.
Yeah, it just absolutely boggles my mind. Absolutely
Ladies,
boggles
I'm
my
going to
mind.
have to jump off here. I've reached my first destination. Keep up the good conversation.
Thank you for the service
Good work.
providing tonight with 11 current degrees. We really appreciate you, Maria and Ange. Stay warm, okay?
All right. Bye.
See you, ladies.
And Megan, one of the things that you have really been successful with is providing alternatives for just dumping dogs at the shelter. And the shelter's overwhelmed. The shelter doesn't have enough staff. The shelter has way too many dogs. And when we're talking about thinking out of the box, which is what Meg is doing with Eden Village, you come up with this first-time foster, and that's probably one of yours that just made his announcement.
Sorry, I'm yelling at Thomas, my very patient partner, with all the dogs I bring home to grab one of the dogs. But yes, I have a few dogs in the house.
Talk to us a little bit about the first-time foster opportunity for people who can hold dogs, especially right now in the weather. You can't afford to make a post and say, gosh, this dog's out on the street. Somebody do something about it, because, you are the somebody. And we are the somebody. We can all take action. We can all step up. We can all do something, whether it's putting them in a crate, putting them in a bathroom, putting them in a laundry room, securing them in a warm garage for the night, just keeping them off the streets until something else. You can make a post, you can ask for help. But, you've really made your mark on the first-time foster concept, which is opening a whole new vista to people who've not had dogs or have not taken care of animals before.
Well, thanks. I mean, it's been amazing to see people step up. I mean, I think we just need to say sometimes, I think a lot of people think there's just so many people have foster homes, and there's dog foster homes. I mean, I'm not even going to mention, I'm going to mention briefly because we should acknowledge it, but children need foster homes too. And that's something that is really extremely needed, and something, if you're able to, it'd be huge. So outside of that, back to the dogs, for a long time, I've heard people say, like, oh, I can't foster because I'll get too attached to them, and really try to challenge people to say, well, the alternative isn't great too. So, okay, you get attached to them, but if these dogs don't get fostered, there's a chance they're going to get euthanized or end up in worse places. So,
or die on the street.
Or die in the street. And people have really stepped up. We just put an invitation out there saying, okay, we need new blood, as we joke. We need new fosters because existing foster homes are filled to the brink. I mean, people have multiple fosters. I have 2 permanent fosters and 1 temporary foster, plus my own 2 dogs. And for us,
Wow.
that's our limit that we can do. Sometimes we take in another emergency one, and everyone has their own limits. But truly ask yourself, do you have space for 1 dog? And a lot of times people do. And what you can do then is, when we find a dog, and if you're following Tara, obviously, because you're watching this, but we ask for field fosters. And what field fosters are, they take a dog straight from us that we found on the street, or they meet us at LMAS. And instead of that dog going straight into the shelter and working its way through adoption there, it stays in your home. And LMAS provides you with a crate, provides you with food. That dog gets registered on their website. So if someone's actually looking for their dog, they know where to go and they can find it. And you take care of that dog, and you make sure after the 5-day stray hold, which is when people have 5 days to come collect their dogs. If that person, the owner, doesn't come within 5 days, you set up the spay or neuter appointment for that dog and get them spayed and neutered, and then they're ready for adoption, and you see them through to adoption. For those folks who say they can't do it because it's too emotionally hard, I can tell you it's extremely rewarding. Usually there's always a day or 2 where I'm crying a little bit or sad because I miss them personally. But what makes it all better is when you see them find their perfect forever home, it just fits, and you realize you played your role, and now this dog can go and make a family happy for the rest of their life. So I never thought I could do it. My first foster was a foster fail, which was perfect because that dog was meant for me. And foster fail means I ended up adopting the dog I'm fostering. But I've fostered dozens and dozens of dogs since then, because that was about 15 years ago. And I really didn't think I had the stomach for it, because I didn't think I could say goodbye. But you're not saying goodbye. You're giving that dog a chance at life. And that is extremely rewarding. And we need new people. Like now, we also need people that are willing to overnight for a night or 2, especially in this cold, because we're finding dogs and our homes are full. So if you're up for it, I really have to say it's extremely rewarding. And I'll also say it's extremely rewarding for your own pets often. My dogs are both rescues, and I adopted them from PBSF Dog Rescue. I foster failed them too, now that I think about it, because they're meant to be with me. But one of my dogs has had a pretty hard background, and he's gained confidence by meeting new dogs and knowing he shows them the way of how to be a happy dog, and gain confidence himself. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. So yes, we need new people to foster for LMAS. You can go to their website and sign up to be a foster, or you can watch Tara on Facebook.
Megan, who's building a pretty significant platform on Facebook Live.
It's happening, yes. So we find dogs all the time, and you'll just see us beg and plead. It's quite annoying, but we have to beg and plead to get attention and be on live enough to find the one person that's going to be their hero. And it's amazing how many fosters we found. We found over 80, 90 fosters in the last few months through that, probably even more. We're not even keeping track of it anymore because we don't have time to keep track of it because of how many dogs there are. So, and those people truly, I don't say that lightly. They are my heroes because they're saving that dog. And when the shelter is completely full, they're saving the life of another dog that's been there longer and won't have to be euthanized for space. So really consider opening up your arms and heart in your home. There's dogs of all sizes, all breeds. Let us know if you're interested in field fostering. Tell us what your restrictions are. If you have mobility issues, let's say you can't have a big dog that's young and going to run around. We will work with you. We find dogs of all kinds. So if you're into it, if you've been thinking about it, please take that plunge because it will be life-saving.
And reach out if you need supplies, because Megan, has an Amazon wish list in the comments, and it's amazing how kind people are to donate coats for dogs, especially in this kind of weather, to donate straw, to donate igloos, whatever. And I know Meg was going to order something for her donkey, a coat.
I'm getting we have a miniature burro and a Shetland pony here, and they have a small run-in, and the Shetland pony's got a good coat, but the miniature burro, she's older, and I found locally and that I can get a blanket for her. So I am doing that tomorrow morning with this extreme cold. I've had her here for 6 or 7 years. She actually belongs to my daughter, but she's my sage girl. So I want to take care of her being outside. Years ago, we brought in our thoroughbred horse when we were in Shelby County. We brought our thoroughbred horse into our garage and took turns holding him because we hadn't built our barn yet. We had moved back to Kentucky and we hadn't built our barn yet. And the weather was so horrible. Thoroughbreds are not used to standing out in that. They're used to being in a stall. So
Right.
Yes, I have a kind heart for pets. My question about field fostering is that can you do that from a different county? So I live in Oldham County. So do they allow people from Oldham County field foster and then they would still go to LMAS, or you would have to deal with something going on out here with Oldham County?
You have to be a Jefferson County resident to be
Okay.
a field foster, but you can be an approved foster and live in another county. So all you have to do is apply to be a foster at LMAS, and whether you live in Bullitt, Jefferson, Oldham, Shelby, Henry, whatever, they will allow people to foster if they are approved fosters. But the field foster is a very specific designation for,
Right.
I've got a dog and I need somewhere for it to go right this minute, and it can't go into Louisville Metro Animal Services because they just closed, like on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Then you go to the shelter the next day. Or we're dropping this dog off at Louisville Metro Animal Services and it needs a field foster. And if you can't meet us tonight, you have 24 hours to do it. That's the stipulation. You also cannot have an opposite sex dog that is intact in the home because most dogs are not neutered. They're not fixed. So those are the rules. And that's a fairly relatively new contract that's been developed. Field fostering has been around for a while, but they literally put it down in writing so everybody would understand. It's a great help and it's a great concept, but there are specifics that you have to follow with the field fostering.
Okay.
So I know you guys both have a late night and you've got a lot more work to do, miles to go before you sleep. But I really wanted to just take a few minutes, and I really thank everybody for tuning in. By the way, Tammy just said, Happy Belly Pet Pantry can help anyone with cat and dog food. Just have people reach out to me. So that's a resource to put out to your folks too, because Megan already knows about it. But Meg, Happy Belly Pet Pantry, she's down by Iroquois Park, and she's done an awesome job getting people to donate food so that she can pass it out to people who are, dealing with not having enough to go around. And a lot of people are feeding multiple pets, and the price of veterinary care has skyrocketed and the price of dog food has skyrocketed in the last few years. So every little bit helps, and we appreciate the work that all of our wonderful partners are doing. So we really appreciate it. Thank you both. And if you guys want to go ahead and put anything into the chat before you go, take the time to do that now. But if you want to reach out to either of these two amazing ladies, or to Maria, who was on with us too, you can do so. You can hit me up and I'll give you contact information if you want to support Eden Village, if you want to support Megan with the wish list that really all of us use and distribute. Please feel free to do that. And really thank you guys for your work. We appreciate you. Have a good evening. Cuddle that donkey in bed with you tonight, Meg.
I would love to. She would definitely cuddle. She would definitely cuddle.
And
Thanks so much. It's nice to meet you, Megan.
Nice to meet you, Meg. Thank you for all you do.
Megan's got
Thank
a
you.
5-dog night, and I've got Ellie, who doesn't like to sleep with me. So I'm going to go cuddle into the coat that Laura Hogue gave me from PBSF that's got her dog's faces on it because they love to cuddle me. And I'll just snuggle in without her. But you guys have a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, you guys, you are the somebody. Be that somebody.
Thanks, Tara. Bye.